Hi, I'm Lisa from SquareOne Training. Welcome to this session. This session is going to be Excel shortcuts and tips, and I absolutely love it with a passion. And I really want to share some of the things and the knowledge that I've had. I've actually been teaching spreadsheets for 38 years, so a long time. A lot of things what I used to teach, we didn't even have a mouse, so some of the shortcuts might be a bit weird, but hopefully you'll love them. I'm going to now move to Excel, and let me just take myself down here. Okay, so we've got an Excel spreadsheet that I've actually set up. It has multiple tabs down the bottom, and I've just coloured some of them. If you have a look at the tabs down the bottom, you will actually see that there is a scroll bar where you can click and you can actually scroll sheets. On all versions of Excel, now I'm using the actual 2016 version, but this will work on all versions. Everything I do is on every single package. If you right click on this part of the screen, you can actually tell it what sheet to go to, which is amazing. It's a sheet navigation area. So if you look at your version as well, you'll see the same. You'll see some little arrows here. You just right click there and you tell it what sheet you want to travel to. Above the top of Excel is called the Quick Access Toolbar. Now, when you first start, you get like an undo and a redo and a save, not very many exciting buttons. But if you actually click here, you can add great things like new, open, so if you want to open spreadsheets. You've got things like spelling, and you've got things like email. Now that's really useful, email, because it means you can be in an Excel file, press that button, and it will actually save it as an attachment in Outlook. So it will move to Outlook, it will do the email with the attachment. The only thing you've got to remember, you've got to press signatures, otherwise they won't get them, but that's handy. There's absolutely masses of quick access shortcuts and tips to go for. So when you do the down arrow on yours, spend some time in more commands and just go through it and decide what kind of thing that you like and that you know that you use. So I use a lot of things like freeze panes. I use that every day. That's locking my headings in. I use fill color, font color. So again, you just literally picking what you use and double clicking on it. And when you double click on it, it just kind of takes it over here, and you can then reorder them to your heart's content. These are fantastic tools. When you actually save them, they're part of your Excel environment, nothing to do with the file that you're on, so you can use them numerous times. In fact, if you go to the down arrow here and go for all commands, there's masses of them, so you can go in and really have a good nose at what's available. This one here is called Show Quick Access Toolbar below the ribbon. Thoroughly recommend that. Press OK, and I'll show you what it's done. So it's moved it from the top to this part of the screen here, and you can add to it. So if ever you right click on anything, you can go add to the quick access toolbar and start building up your favorites. Oh, can't live without this one. This one's got a down arrow on it. It's called auto sum, and if I right click that on the down arrow and add that as well. Okay, so what would be the point of that when you've got them here, you may ask me? Well, if you double click on the home, now this is called a ribbon, and if you double click on it, it actually shuts the ribbon down. In fact, it looks very much like the old Excel I used to use. But basically, by double clicking on home, it shuts the ribbon down, and you can still use things like borders because you've got them without opening up the ribbon. So you're going to get a lot more space on your screen. You double click back on home again and the ribbon comes back again. So it's just like a feature that you can use and toggle through. And that works in all the versions of Microsoft. So it's not an Excel feature. And same with the quick access toolbar. Spend time doing that. Okay, so we've navigated sheets. We've looked at the quick access toolbar. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look at how we highlight effectively. So to highlight, I'm going to use one called Sales for now. So I right-clicked and picked it. First of all, highlighting the whole lot. So if I want to highlight that whole area, in any Microsoft package, Control A means grab all, basically, select all. So Control and A on the keyboard will highlight it. And it will highlight the active area, and it will look for blank rows, blank columns, and then stop. So very, very handy. If you're outside the active area and you do Control A, then it's going to highlight the whole lot. So within an area, it's fabulous for that. The other way of highlighting that is useful is we can highlight rows, we can highlight columns very, very easily. So I want to basically highlight row 5. Yeah, it's row 5. I want to highlight row 5, but I don't really want to get my mouse and travel all the way back just to click. So a kind of feature I use a lot of is Shift and Spacebar on the keyboard. The Shift key is just above the Control key and it's under the caps lock. So it's the one that's got the up arrow. So I'll use the Shift key to do that. So it's Shift and Spacebar, and that highlights a row. That's brilliant for when you're reading data in Excel. If you highlight a few rows, or cells I should say, so if I highlight 3 cells and then do Shift Spacebar, then it's going to highlight 3 rows. Columns are very similar. If you want to highlight a column, just be anywhere inside that column and do Control and Spacebar. Again, that'll save you going all the way to the top. Hope you like those. The other thing that we do a lot of is clicking and dragging. So numerous times we'll click and we'll drag, and it's not good for your wrist at all. So I actually recommend you don't do that. I recommend that you click at your starting point, wherever that might be. You hold down your Shift key on your keyboard and you just literally click where you want to end. So it's click at the start, Shift, click at the end. And because the Shift key is basically a highlight key, as long as that's down, you can use down arrows, up arrows, right arrows, anything you actually want. But as long as you hold down the Shift key first, you can then even click and change your mind. So it's a magic highlight button. You probably know that from Outlook, because if you think about Outlook, you usually click at the start where you want to highlight your email, hold down your Shift key and then click on the last email, and that does a block. So it's exactly the same in here as well. And use that feature in Word and in the internet and anything you use, because it's got nothing to do with Excel. So recapping, Control A is highlight an active area. Shift and Spacebar is highlight a row. And Control Spacebar is highlight a column. Fabulous. Next thing you're going to need to do is navigate around your spreadsheets. So you'll want to travel around them as well. So where we are here, we might want to quickly go to the end of the column rather than scroll. So on your keyboard, you've got the Control key. You've got up arrows, down arrows. There's 4 together, basically, left, right, up and down. So if you do Control and down, it's going to take you there. Control and up arrow, going to take you to the top. And obviously if you want to highlight, you go Control, Shift and down. So I hope you like those. There's many, just have to give them a go. But try not to drag and pull too much. The next one is navigating down thousands of rows. So I know that something I want to read is roughly around, I don't know, 10,000 rows roughly. I do this, I click into here, that we call this a named box. So I'll click there and I'll basically go, take me to column A. So I'll type an A in, but take me down 10,000 rows. I think there's enough zeros on there. And then when you press enter, there you are, down in that cell. I want to go back to the top. There's a keyboard command to do this, which is Control Home, but you can also do this. Click in there, A1, and enter. I hope you like that one. Okay, so let's do some real work. So I'm just going to go to the numbers sheet, and I'm going to show you some tips and tricks with adding up, because there's so many magical things you can do here. First of all, there's many ways you can add up. You can do equal sum and blah, 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 many ways. I'm just going to show you how I would do it. So I know that Microsoft wrote, when they wrote AutoSum, they wrote a rule for it. They said, if there is two numbers or more directly above where my cursor is now, add it up, add up. They then said, but if there isn't, add what's on the left. Okay, so I know it's going to add those four numbers. So I will click AutoSum. I will check that it is the four numbers, which it is, and I will press AutoSum again. Now, I'll do that again because you probably thought, why didn't you press enter? Right, so I did AutoSum and AutoSum again. And you can see by me doing that, it's left me completely on that cell. So I'm on that 145 now and I haven't moved. And I can now copy the formula down. I'll just delete it. If you do it AutoSum and then enter, which is the normal way, you are one cell below and you've got to click back again to then copy it down. So to me, it's a no-brainer. It's literally, I want to add up those and I'm not moving. When I've got that, to get that down, I do not click and drag that down. I double click the corner. So I click at the start where I want to do the formula. I'll go AutoSum. Yes, that is the range. AutoSum again, double click. So everything's virtually a double click, if I'm honest. AutoSum, AutoSum, double click. Okay, let's show you another one. It does patterns as well. So before you shout at me that that's bad layout management of data, I'm just showing you the pattern, if that's okay. So I have decided that I would like to add up the numbers on the left. I know it will do it because I've got a word there. Okay, so I know it will go left. So I'm going to do it like I have taught you already. And I'm going to double click. It will go one further because I've got the word total there. Okay, quarter two. When I do AutoSum, it's only going to do the 3 to the left. It's not going to do the whole line because Microsoft said look for numbers and if you see them, add them up. So in its brain, that's its priority at the moment. So it stops. Same here. It's only going to do July, August, and September. This isn't new, by the way, it's always done this. So any version you've got will work. And then finally, What I would like to do in the total is I would like to add up those 4 quarters, and I'm not going to go equals that plus that plus that. Microsoft said, we'll program your numbers to look above if there is any, and then we'll go left if there is any, and if there's not, we will automatically grab your totals. So magic. And then again, you just double click and it's done. The bottom bit's not as easy, to be honest. You can't double click to go across. So it's probably the way you do it now, which is click where you want the answer, but double click that. Don't press enter, just double click it. It will give you the answer. And then there is a shortcut where I can highlight and press Control R. There's so many shortcuts, but for now, I'm just going to go on that corner and I'm just going to just pull it across. But if you send me a message, if you do want the shortcut key, how you do that or anything, just let me know and I'll send it to you. I hope they were okay. So they were just some of the shortcuts. Okay, now there's going to be many, many more things that we can do, but I'm going to show you something that I think you probably spend a lot of time on. Formatting. Okay, so formatting in Excel is a nightmare and can take you quite a long time, and that's putting things with boxes around and colours and all sorts, text colours, whatever. So for years I've been showing this little tip. This is called Find and Select. Now some versions it has a binoculars and some it has the magnifying glass. So either way you should have it. If you do the down arrow on there and you choose formulas. So I apologize, I clicked my right mouse button by accident then. So it's on there, left mouse button, formulas. And what it will then do will highlight all of your calculations that you've done. And immediately you can say, I'd like them all to be bold. Okay, I'd like them all to be currency. So let me do some currency. Okay, I'm going to do some currency. For now, I'll do the accountant one. Yeah, quite happy with that. If you wanted to as well, you could actually colour them. So this is my corporate colour of my business. I could colour it and give it some borders. And again, I could do that on here or here, depending which way I want to use it. I'm going to click off that. That is amazing, that feature as well, because if you had some cells that somebody had overtyped the formula, oh, it's just amazing, because what it will do, it will show you, because it won't change color. So it can save you hours auditing spreadsheets as well. Okay, next bit. I want to highlight the top bits. So I'm going to click away. I'm going to go Find and Select. And this time, I don't want formulas. I don't want any of this. I'm going to go for something that's not on the list. Call this Go to Special. And I'm going to say, okay, I want you to highlight my constants that are text. Okay. Constants means they don't change. So I'm going to go for that. And I want the text. So that's going to grab all the headings around the edge, and I'm going to say I want them all blue with white text with lines, maybe bold. But anyway, you pick whatever you want, and you can see that in seconds it's done that. Let me show you what I've done. Looks pretty good. So I want these as pounds now, so I'm going to go Find and Select. I'm going to go for Go to Special. This time I'm saying find my constants. This time they're numbers. So in other words, they're type, they don't change. I'm going to press OK. It's going to highlight them. I'm going to come up here and say, make them currency, put lines around them, click away, and I've got this amazingly designed spreadsheet. I hope that you love that. That takes hours to do that, and you don't know those tips. Well, it doesn't take hours, but it can take quite a while. So I hope you like that. Okay, so the final thing, you've probably gathered that we've got hundreds and hundreds of tips and tricks that we can do for you, but the final thing that I'm going to show you to end the session is I'm just going to show you how I would create a bar chart and a graph in one click. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to highlight the range. So I'm going to highlight from A1 to E6 using my shortcut keys, which we've already covered. And then you press on the keyboard, you press a key called F11, function 11 we call it, F11. So you've got function keys across the top. And what it does, it creates you a chart. It's on its separate sheet. It's linked to its data. There's the sheet there. There's the original data. It analyzes it. It analyzes it as what we call a column chart. But you can change the chart type, you know, go into design, change it to whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be that. But F11's programmed in by default to come up with a column chart unless you say otherwise. But it creates the chart on its separate sheet, linked to the data, and that's F11. So I finished my training session, which was 20 minutes in length, and I hope you really loved it. I hope some of those shortcuts will be really useful for you, and I'd love your feedback and I'd love to help. So please drop in to see us and have a chat. So I'm Lisa. My company is SquareOne Training. Thank you very much.